Distance of real saucers. Received a fascinating letter from D. Robin Stowell of Milton Keynes, England. Mr. Stowell was alerting us to a startling footnote in an out-of-print book. Milton Keynes, England. It's not the kind of place where we expect to get new information on real-life flying saucers. But after our recent report on disc-shaped aircraft in Canada, top-secret American saucer projects, and Germany's development of craft like this during World War II, a sightings researcher received this letter from viewer D. Robin Stowell. A typesetter by trade, Stowell alerted us to this book, Brighter Than 1,000 Suns, an authoritative history of the race to build the first atomic bomb. Stowell typeset the original manuscript nearly 40 years ago and never forgot this brief reference to a Nazi saucer that could outmaneuver any Allied aircraft. 4 decades after publication, Stowell found a copy of the out-of-print reference book and confirmed what he had long remembered. The footnote describes German saucers that were 45 yards across, capable of reaching speeds over Mach 1 and climbing to an elevation of nearly 8 miles. Some experts believe that these Nazi saucers could have been responsible for the legendary Foo Fighters sightings over Europe late in World War II. But if they were, it still does not explain Foo Fighters spotted over the Pacific during the same period.
Hi everyone, welcome to this video. I have something so exciting to present to you tonight, or whenever you're watching this. I do hope you are well. If you haven't been keeping up with my videos, you might find yourself a tiny bit lost in this one. I would suggest going back, and I will put a list below of what to watch in what order to lead you to this video. But my last couple of videos, starting with Dr. Ning Li, have been on gravity modification, also known as anti-gravity. And I was doing some more research today and into the evening, and just, throughout the day, watching things and doing stuff like that. And I came across an interview with, forgive me, I've forgotten his name again, Ralph Ring. And on this interview, if you don't know who this man is, it was on my last video that came out on anti-gravity. It had a short clip with him in there. And this was from a pilot TV episode called Somewhere Out There. So I was scrolling through the comments a little bit because I didn't exactly have time. I was actually getting ready to go to bed. And I was just scrolling through the comments to see what people had to say about it and such. And as I was doing so, I found a comment that had suggested that this method of levitation was used in some German flying saucers that I have talked about on this channel before, and I know that I've used a lot of pictures from the Hanabu and Real Craft and from the Thule Society. So as I clicked this, I found a book. It was a link. I found a book, and it's called Disc Aircraft of the Third Reich. I don't know how to say that. Sorry, I apologize. But it's an introduction. It's by Rob Arndt, Arndt. And I'm just going to read you the little part that I was reading, and then I will lead you through how I came to discover what I have. So it says, probably the most misunderstood and problematic of all terrestrial-based disk technology lies at the heart of the German disk programs that started with the birth of the NSDAP, the Nazi Party, in 1920, a full 13 years before Adolf Hitler came to power as the leader of the Third Reich, whatever that is. To fully comprehend the depth of these programs requires the knowledge that above all else the NSDAP was founded from the onset of the occult Thule, or the Thule Society, in 1917, and the Vril Society of 1919, and the Gesellschafts societies, so they're all societies, yes, and other occult groups like the DHVSS, known as the Men of the Black Stone, that stretched back to the turn of the 20th century with the Old German Order, aka Order of Teutons. As such, the very first disk project in Germany, built in 1922, was not even an aircraft, but an interdimensional flight machine in disk form, the JFM, built by the Thule-Vril societies. When Adolf Hitler, a Thule member, along with Göring and Himmler and various other top Nazi officials, became chancellor in Germany in 1933, the 11-year occult metaphysical science of Thule-Vril became strengthened by official state backing for the continued disk development programs, starting with an RFZ, Rundflugzeug, or round aircraft series of disks that utilized levitators developed by W.O. Schumann of the Technical University of Munich, who worked on the JFM. 1934 saw the first RFZ disks built, which led in 5 short years to 2 vast programs of highly advanced disk aircraft overseen by Himmler's SS, specifically the SS Technical Branch Unit E4, which was created to explore various alternative energies. The unit was tasked with developing both the Haunebu and Vril disk designs that utilized the world's first electromagnetic gravitic drive systems. The Vril and Thule Tribeworks. These drives relied on Hahn Kohler's free energy converter coupled to a Van de Graaff band generator and Marconi vortex dynamo, a huge spherical tank of mercury, to create powerful rotating electromagnetic fields that affected gravity. And I'm like, oh my goodness, here I am. And I knew that this would have something to do, but it just so much more hit me. Like a firework went off of all this information that came to my mind when I heard that. Because the alternate means of propulsion, gravity modification, and the things that I've been looking into, especially with Amy Eskridge, it hit me. There was a diagram that I saw where there was these people sitting in the middle, and it didn't look all that comfortable, to be honest. And there was this giant ball in the center, and that was this liquid mercury. And it had to do with, I'm pretty sure, these Thule and Vril craft. So I am going to do a second part to this kind of commentary where I'm going to show you some pictures and more videos. But I have linked this to the Vimanas in ancient India and China. There are pools of liquid mercury in ancient sites, and we're going to talk about that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this for a few minutes, and I'm going to make a longer video tomorrow morning. But yeah, this is extremely interesting because this means that this connects to the video that I made about that story that says I work at NASA and we made alien contact yesterday. One of the sites in which liquid mercury was found, which is in Mexico, Teotihuacan. I can't remember exactly how to say it. Sorry, I'm terrible with wording. But the site itself, underneath of it, is the most interesting because underneath they discovered, and you will see this clip probably directly after this video. We'll watch that and then we'll continue on talking about my theories and ideas and how I was thinking about this whole thing. But they found underneath that there's another site and it has a pool of liquid mercury. This has been found in ancient Egypt, Mesoamerica, ancient China, and India, like I said again. So we're going to watch that video, and then we're going to continue talking about this. I'll see you in just a minute. Hi everyone, it's me. This is like at least my 6th time doing this, and I was going really good, and then I realized that it had stopped recording. I should have saved it, but I deleted it. Now I'm just going to start all over again. So if you were in my live stream last time that I did it, it was just yesterday or the day before because it's after midnight now. So it would be yesterday to me. But anyway, it doesn't matter. In my last live stream, I got excited when I was reading to you this, it's called Disc Aircraft of the Third Reich, and it's by an introduction by Rob Arndt, but it's actually an extraction from the UFOs of Nazi Germany. Hang on, let me click this. By Victor Schauberger. And he is actually a philosopher, an Austrian philosopher, and naturalist. I will put all the information below, but I just want to get to the point because this was exciting. So I got excited about this point. It says, the Germans further complicated the identification of the Foo Fighters with a range of smaller, purely spherical aerial probes that were used as psychological weapons. These Kugelwaffen ball weapons played aerial games with the Allied bomber gunners that would have in time distracted them from the real threat of the larger approaching Kugelblitz discs, and those are ball lightning. So so it says up a little bit above where, I forget where it was, but it says that what about the fire? So they were called Foo Fighters because it's a French word for fire, foo, as in like this, but it's actually spelled foo like this because of that, right? But it's from the French word for fire. And so they could actually, I think, start fires and burn things and stuff like that. But it was electrostatic field weapon. That's what it was. Electrostatic field weapon. But anyway, the whole point of all this, I've done this so many times now, I'm just I'm so tired. So, but it talked about them looking like fireballs in the sky, and that's why they call them ball lightning, and the ball weapons. So to get to this point, check this out. Okay. This is where I was before, and then I realized that we weren't recording anymore. Look at this. This was just from May 9th, 2025, okay? Scientists study a UFO orb that landed in Colombia, claim mysterious object is alien after scanning it with X-rays. The chilling sphere shows signs that it's not constructed by humans. Well, I disagree. But just humans that we don't have and know today. So they're alien and foreign to us, but they're ancient humans. In the video I'm going to make, when I put all of this together, so much information is coming to me that I kind of feel like that lady on Indiana Jones. I'm trying not to blow up and go into another dimension, okay? So, so I'm going to make a big video where it's going to be like chapter 1, 2, and 3, where it's going to be like the ancient peoples, and then we're going to do the German UFO technology, okay, like what we're talking about right now with Nikola Tesla's stuff and the electromagnetic field generators and stuff like that, okay, with the gravity modification, anti-gravity stuff, all right? We're going to do that, and then we're going to talk about like modern day UFO sightings all at once. But so this is kind of what this is about, because people, I have a video, this is called the Buga Spear, and it was seen in China and also Colombia. Just let me check to make sure that is right. Yeah, it's this. Bugosphere. Yeah, it's spotted in China, but also, what did it say? Colombia? Yeah. Okay. Scientists are studying a mysterious UFO orb which landed in Colombia and said to be alien. Boffins released X-ray images of the mind-boggling sphere after witnesses claimed to have seen it flying over the town in Buga in March. There it is right there. So if you look at it here, it's going to talk about an ancient alien. This is what ancient aliens are, because they're ancient foreigners that we don't know anymore, but there are ancient peoples, because we use symbol like writing, and languages have changed over time drastically. English has changed over the hundreds of or the thousands of years, and same with other languages. Like we used to speak like Latin or whatever. And then, like ancient Chinese definitely does not, even their writing has changed so much over time. And it does not sound like modern day Chinese. The same thing with most languages. Some languages didn't even exist. So the same forms of writing. So these could be, dead forms of languages that we no longer understand. But at one time, like, what is it called? Like, there's hieroglyphics, and then there's like the Anunnaki. What is that? It starts with a C, doesn't it? I forget what it's called, but it's a certain type of writing, the Anunnaki writing. So there's different types of writing styles that the different peoples of our planet have developed over, the however long, we've been here, which is probably a lot longer than they say that we have been here, okay? And this is what I'm going to connect with you. It goes back to ancient Vimanas and all that kind of stuff. Because we're not the first ones to figure this out. And the German technology, they weren't the ones to figure that out first. They got that from the Vimanas and the ancient technology and from all those sites and stuff like that. That's what they were looking for, weird stuff. This is what they were looking for, stuff like this. So that they could make things like this. Old technologies, so they could make it again. Like the Vimanas, and reconstruct them, figure out how they work. And I talked about, oh my goodness, so if this is your first time seeing this, natural cinnabar, okay, this is something that can be found in the ground. It has what's called mercuric sulfate. It's like mercury, but it has to be refined. And they refine it through heat, and they harvest the vapor, and it turns into liquid mercury. They found liquid mercury at many, many ancient sites, okay? Also in one, I believe it's an ancient site in ancient Mesoamerica. So I think it's Mexico. and it's underneath Teotihuacan. And there's, I think, the feathered serpent temple on top, but underneath there's another structure where they found a large pool of liquid mercury. Well, they had many medicinal uses for it in the ancient cultures. It was used in ancient medicines and stuff like this. And yes, we know about its toxicities and stuff like that, but in its natural state, like even in India, they have um, lingos that are made of this red pigmented cinnabar, and they're called the mercury lingos because there's this mercuric sulfate or whatever, a sulfide or whatever it was. I apologize. I went over it in the live. So let's just continue because I'm getting all over the place. So it's an extraterrestrial item. As I was reading in that book, it talks about the layering and stuff of the metals. So it's discovered that it had 3 layers of metal-like material and 18 microspheres inside, which surrounded a central nucleus. So, I mean, like, their technology probably increased quite a bit since, like, 1939. You know what I mean? Like, they probably improved the design and changed it and maybe swapped things out differently for liquid mercury to something else. You know what I mean? It's probably changed and advanced over time, but that's where they started, and the ancient peoples figured it out first, long before that German technology or Nikola Tesla or anything like that. You know what I mean? They had it long before then at the ancient times, in ancient Egypt and all of there. Central nucleus. Scientists are calling this core a chip. The radiologist who examined the sphere, Dr. Joe Luis Velasquez, said that they found no joints or welds, which usually indicate human production. Well, how we make things now. The scientists concluded it is artificial origin, in that it shows no evidence of welding, and its internal structure is composed of high-density elements. More testing is needed to establish its origin. So, a high-density element would be liquid mercury, for instance, or for example, rather. The mind-blowing object also displayed symbols the team compared to ancient scripts. Okay, these included runes, Og, Ham, and Mesopotamian writing symbols, like the Sumerians writing symbol, or the Anunnaki symbolic writing text, or the ancient Sumerians rather. You know what I mean. Sorry. The scientists used AI to help them decode the bizarre text. I promise you this gets to a point. They interpreted it saying, the origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion in consciousness, individual consciousness. And usually their messages sound like this, probably because the way that it's translated from their language to English is a little bit different, and the way that they speak is a little bit different. So it's going to translate differently, like this, like how it says the cycle of transformation, comma, meeting point of unity, comma, expansion, comma, and consciousness, dash. So they speak a little bit differently, so it's going to translate the language differently. But it says the researchers said that they understood the text to be a message to humanity and encouraging a collective shift in consciousness to help Mother Earth, okay? The object was recovered on March 2nd by a group of people who said it weighed about 4.5 pounds. They described it as having the temperature of a refrigerator, so yes, it would be cold, when they touched it. And this is what it is. And inside here, very well, could be something that's liquid, like mercury, but we don't know. I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing. Okay, so here's the outside of the sphere. Again, this was the ancient writing. Here's the chip in the center. This kind of reminds me of the solar beings, like the sun. Okay? The sun and moons. This whole thing kind of looks like a star. But anyway, let's continue, because I'm trying to get... Okay, we're at the part where I was at. One of the individuals who recovered the object, David Velez El Potro, said that the object was authentic and claimed to have found it in the woods in Buga. He also said that the man who found it and touched it, Jose, felt sick for days after touching the alien sphere. And we're going to get to that because it has like waves coming off of it. You can't see them, you can't hear them, but if you touch it, it might affect you inside. Almost like how the sun, when it gives off its or its, what's that called? When there's solar flares and stuff like that, and it has electromagnetic effects on our field around the planet and that. And so sometimes people are sensitive to these energies and they will start feeling sick and stuff like that. So if you're feeling unwell for days, like sometimes when the sun's popping off, you just don't feel good. And not everybody's going to be able to, know, because you have to experience this. But I always know I don't need to look it up. I always know when the sun's popping off because I can feel it. And that's what I call, it's either a solar flare and it's like an X flare or something really powerful. There's power outages and all kinds of crazy stuff because it affects the electromagnetism of all things, like the electromagnetic field. And we have an electromagnetic field ourselves. So this was the part. Potro said, when I poured water on it, it started to smoke and the water vaporized instantly. But this is the thing. It was cold, right? Didn't freeze. It was cold. So I thought to myself, what, let's just finish it. But what would make that happen, right? With that blue highlighted part. Let's just finish it. It says, there have yet to be any official reports or scientific analysis to confirm claims of a sphere falling over Bua. Only eyewitness reports. Velez El Potro added the government contacted him to hand over the sphere, but he refused, arguing that it would never be seen again. Researchers found that the sphere had irregular edges, which indicated that it is a solid object. Well, it was probably just liquid. They probably poured it that way, and then they harden. You see, almost like a mold. So it would just totally harden with no seams or seals. It would be totally sealed on the inside of whatever the mechanism is on the inside. So if it has sound waves or whatever it's using, electromagnetic waves or some type of form of energy, frequency, and vibration type of thing, as we're going to get to, then it would need to be sealed and solid, like a super tight echo chamber. Like I was reading to you from that story that I found on Reddit about NASA. I work at NASA. We made alien contact yesterday. I told you that was an example of something that I could feel there was something to that, and now I found it. So, we're gonna, okay. So, okay, let me just finish. So it says that it is a solid object. The outer layer was said to be the most dense area. Well, of course, because they'd have to protect it. Almost possessing human bone density. Yeah. Because it would need a really strong outer shell, but it also needs to keep in what's inside of it. So just wait now. The breakthrough research suggests the outer layer could be made of titanium or steel, but I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to see. So, let me see. Tic Tac UFO identified, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we have this. Okay, still need a full composition of analysis to confirm this, yeah. The 18 smaller spheres, because it almost looks almost pewter color, like a darker silver, right? The 18 smaller spheres within the object center appear to be aligned in a non-randomized pattern. Boffins are currently referring to the 18 points of the chip due to their precise arrangement and location within the spherical object. The team also observed a central band composed of a different material, which contained more smaller spheres. They think that these may have been placed inside before the object was sealed. Yeah. See? I didn't read this whole thing because I got excited and then I started recording. I did it like 6 times now, so I'm super tired, but we'll keep going. But the X-rays do not reveal any visible signs of assembly technique by humans. Well, it's just unknown, that's all. The mysterious object also had text written on one of its sides. Witnesses say, yeah, see, that's what they look like this, and I've got a video for you and everything. Witnesses say they spotted the object flying in the skies. Okay, is that the end? Alright, now it's just a bunch of crap. Okay, so where I had that, where they poured the water on it, and I said, I wonder what would make that happen. So I looked it up. Okay, so I looked it up, and I know I turned off my video by accident, so I looked it up, and it says intense sound fields make mercury react with water. After nearly a century, scientists can explain why a gray cloud that would be like smoke forms when mercury and water are sonicated. New electrochemical evidence has confirmed how sound waves force mercury and water to react. See, when he said he grabbed it, it was cold to the touch, right? Scientists characterizing that means it wouldn't be hot and burn the water to make it be like steam, so it was smoke. Or like a gray cloud or whatever, but you would think like it was smoke when you saw it. So it says sound waves mercury to react. Scientists characterizing the gray cloud formed in the reaction discovered unusual core shell particles with liquid centers and solid shells. Under most conditions, metallic mercury and water do not react. The exception is when scientists apply ultrasound to mercury-water mixtures, which irreversibly forms gray clouds of particles. Robert Wood and Alfred Loomis discovered this in 1927. The reaction is possible in most laboratories within minutes, but how the gray cloud forms and what it consists of has never been fully understood. Okay, and let me see. I forget if it goes on to say any more. I'll just continue, I guess. Characterization of the particles defied several attempts over the years, and the formation of HgOH2 went completely unsuspected, says Richard Compton, who led the study at the University of Oxford, UK. Compton explains that HgOH2 molecules form when elemental mercury and OH radicals react in intense sound fields. The OH radicals come from cleaved water molecules subject to local temperatures of over 1000 K. The temperature gets so high due to bubbles collapsing and releasing energy, multiple orders of magnitude higher than the energy from the sound field. Direct evidence of HgOH2 has been lacking, but the researchers used its unique volumetric signature to prove its presence. So that's what I'm saying about this when he said that when he poured water on it, that it started to smoke and the water vaporized instantly. Because it was probably made of liquid mercury itself. Or it could have been. Or has some sort of component to it. And because of the ultrasound waves or whatever that's coming off of it, it had a strong reaction. So now we're going to go over here, and this little video came up. Can you see that? It was on Instagram. I don't have an account, but it says A metallic sphere UAP was seen silently hovering and flying at low altitudes over water in Beijing, eerily similar to the Bugosphere filmed in Colombia. I saw a metallic sphere flying over the reservoir. It hovered, changed altitude, and moved silently. Definitely not a balloon or drone. I recorded 3 clips. Days later, I saw the Columbia sphere and realized it looked exactly the same. So, yeah, it's not a UFO. Um, Now, as we started out with this, it's one of these. It's one of these ball things. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are weaponized, but I saw one myself, probably back in, I don't know, 2016. It was before I saw the red lighted craft, 3 lighted craft, whatever, above my building in July of 2017. It was before then, and I was taking pictures of chemtrails, and I didn't see this sphere with my eyes. I saw it in pictures only. And I remember seeing the bird and everything, but these things can probably have some type of cloaking, like so that you can't see them, or maybe they reflect the um, space around so that it just looks like cloud and whatever, and you won't be able to really see them, you know? But I saw it in the camera. So I truly feel like that what we're dealing with is, I mean, it may be foreign, like I was saying. Like, these languages here are different. We can go up here to get a better picture. I think they have a better picture up here. Yeah. So these languages are different, you know, but these are just ancient languages. It's not alien, it's just an unknown technology that we're not aware of. I mean, with Nikola Tesla's laser technology and all of that, this definitely isn't a perfect line, so it was probably, possibly carved by a human hand or a person or whatever, not like by a machine. But if it was a handheld tool, you see, you could make a design with a handheld tool pretty similar. Anyway, so Marvin and Salem are getting into some foolishness. And I don't know. I think this is good. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I know I have. So he poured water on it, and I looked up what water would have an effect with, and mercury here. Intense sound fields makes mercury react with water. Isn't that something? So I hope you find that as interesting and cool as I do, because I definitely do. So we can watch this little sphere go again. It's quite small. I don't know what will happen if I click it here. Oh, it'll just pause. Can I make it bigger? No. Oh, there's sound. There we go. There it goes. Whee! Oh, sorry. I'm pointing at it. Like right here. Move the camera so fast. You see it go? Hope so. Mhm. Yeah. There's a couple other videos. Just give me a second. Okay. Am I recording again? Yes. Good. All right, here we go. Here's another. Let me see if that's right. Okay. So here's another website which is covering this. It says the mysterious Bugis wheel. Colombian scientists examine a bizarre UFO object that fell from the sky. Well, clearly it was not that big. Cats are fighting. So it says the Buda Columbia sphere is fascinating. It was captured on camera by two people simultaneously. It hit a high voltage power line and eventually fell to the ground. Yep. And they can be different sizes too. They said there's small and large ones. This isn't just another blurry video of a light in the sky. This is physical evidence, a tangible object, a real enigma that has landed, literally, in the hands of ordinary people. And what makes this even more remarkable is that it happened in broad daylight and in front of dozens of witnesses, which many of whom managed to record footage before the object crashed to the ground. From suspicion to revelation, what exactly is the Buda sphere? Okay, I'm just getting really tired, okay? So that's a really good picture of it. There's advanced engineering. Of course, I'm going to link everything below so you can check it all out. Oh, here's pictures of their writing. We talked about the ancient forms of languages already. Okay, ancient cosmology. Here, what I was trying to show you. These would be torus fields. Here and here. These are the waves. So this is what, and it explains there's a rod going through it down here. I wonder how they knew that it looked like that on the inside. Is that what the scans looked like? Oh, I guess I could have read it. But I'm extraordinarily tired. So, one villager who came into direct contact with the spear reported feeling mysteriously drained for several days afterwards. What do we feel when the sun's popping off? Drained. Well, not conclusive. This strange physiological reaction has raised about potential radiation, electromagnetic fields, that's what it is, or even form of biological interaction embedded in the device's design. While I have vague experience with them, I know that I call them the camera, and it follows me around. Not every day, like I'm not thinking this thing's following me around, but it's in the future. I have visions sometimes, and, well, I've seen them before. So, of like my own future. So, it says, what has made this case even more compelling is the lack of any official government response. In many previous cases where I identified aerial objects crash land or Black Ops team would descend upon the scene, shutting down access, Well, I don't know. It says this alone has left experts baffled. Why would the evidence so clearly advanced and potentially extraterrestrial be left untouched by global authorities? Could this be intentional? Probably. It also has this message here. It probably is to prepare, and it's presenting this kind of technology. I don't know if they got inside of it, or some people believe the object was placed there deliberately as a message, a probe, or perhaps even a gift. Yeah, sure. A test balloon of sorts, preparing for humanity for the appearance of something far larger and more significant. Ooh, could it be a fully operational craft next? Well, it certainly is interesting what I found here. So far, no images of the sphere interior have been made publicly released beyond the initial X-ray scans. They're going to hold off on disassembling it until they know what they're dealing with. But yeah, so I definitely think that definitely onto something here. Because these are waves. And this looks like a torus field. Sort of, yeah. Because it would go all the way around. That's a section of it. It's cut off. It looks like a donut, a hollow donut. So yeah, that's what it is, yeah. Waves. So, there we have it. So that's why this fellow was feeling sick. And that's what the mercury in the water reacted because of the sound waves. And I made it through this video without stopping recording. Gray cloud. We read how the guy would feel ill. So good. I'm really glad that I finally got through this, because now I can go to bed. And if you want to look at any of this stuff, it will be all below in the description or the pinned comment. And I'm going to put together a video which connects our ancient peoples, like ancient aliens, again, only alien because they're foreign to us now. I mean, we think these people have been dead for maybe even hundreds of thousands of years, and they invented a technology where they have interdimensional travel. As we read, I'll just take you back to one more. They had created, hold on, an interdimensional flight machine. See? Whoops. So these are going interdimensionally too. They're in and out of our dimension. As such, the very first disk project in Germany, built in 1922, was not even an aircraft, but an interdimensional flight machine in disk form. And this is how they're popping in and out of our dimension. So, I hope that you've enjoyed this part. I might just put this video all together. I didn't actually intend it to go this way, but it did, and I think that's pretty freaking awesome. So again, I just want to make it clear that I'm not supporting any kind of Nazism or any of their ideals and stuff like this. It says just right here, to fully comprehend the depths of these programs requires the knowledge that above all else, the NSDAP was founded from the onset of the Occult Fool Society and the Vril, okay? And other occult groups like the Men of the Black Stone and such. And again, well, the Black Stone or Black Cube, which would be the computer screen I'm looking at, or the phone screen that you are looking at, listening to me right now speaking, that is your Black Cube. But anyway, yes, everything that I've talked about will be below. Here are the round aircraft, the ball ones. And you've seen a lot of UFOs that look like silver balls flying through the sky. Well, that's what they are. And they've been around for a really long time, and their technology has probably advanced quite a bit. So, I don't know where I'm going to continue this, but if this is the last you hear of me in this video here, if this is the end of the video, because I'm not sure, no, because I have to do like the future UFOs. We looked at that video, right? Okay, yes, guys, I am so tired. Thank you very much. I hope you found this as fascinating and amazing as I have. Take care. Have a good night. Bye. The swastika, from sacred symbol to emblem of hate, by History Tools, May 26, 2024. The swastika, a geometrical figure consisting of 4 bent arms, has become synonymous with the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime during World War II. However, the symbol's history is far more complex and nuanced than its infamous association with Hitler's genocidal ideology. For thousands of years before its appropriation by the Nazis, the swastika held deep spiritual significance in various cultures across the globe. Ancient origins and spiritual meaning. The swastika's origins can be traced back to prehistoric times, with the symbol appearing in artifacts from the Indus Valley Civilization, 3300 to 1300 BCE. such as seals and pottery. In ancient Greece, the swastika was adorned pottery and architectural designs, while in the Americas it appeared in the art of the Mayans, Aztecs, and the Navajo. In fact, this symbol reminds me of the Navajo, the Dine, the legend of their four worlds. So it's like the four directions. However, it is in the religious traditions of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism that the swastika has held the most enduring and profound spiritual meaning. In Hinduism, the right-facing swastika is called swastika, while the left-facing version is known as the swastika. The symbol represents the sun, or solar beings, prosperity, and good fortune. It is often used in religious ceremonies, festivals, and as a decorative element in homes and temples. In Buddhism, the swastika signifies the Buddha's footprints and the path to enlightenment. It is frequently incorporated into mandalas and other sacred art. The Jains use the swastika to represent the seventh Tirthankara, Supershuvanatha, and as a symbol of the four states of existence: heavenly beings, or higher dimensionals; humans, Middle Earth; hellish beings, lower dimensionals; and, demons, and then subhuman creatures. So the upper lower dimensionals and lower dimensionals. So, like I was saying, like Preternia, Eternia, and Subternia in He-Man and everything is coming together with higher dimensionals, lower dimensionals, and human beings and all that. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I just wanted to add this in at the end to clear up any misconceptions that I was trying to come across with this video. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Anyway, I certainly have. Sorry about that. I kind of had a little bit of a brain fart. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Oof.
This section of the video deals with New Schwabenland, Antarctica, and Base 211, also known as Station 211. But the Third Reich story ends as strangely as it begun. What about the mysterious Thule Vril discs that were actually built in small numbers? By 1945, there were quite a few Haunebu 2 and Vril 7 discs flying. Vril 7 had even tested the Vril 8 Odin and possibly an even more streamlined Vril 9 Abigail. These craft were not destroyed but evacuated from March 1945 to an area safe from Allied bombing or capture. In the year preceding the start of World War II, Germany sent an expedition to Antarctica to scout out a location for a military base there. The Germans found such a location in the former Queen Maud land, which Germany renamed New Schwabenland. There, in secret, during 1942 and 43, a base was built in the Mühlig-Hoffmann Mountains. Base 211, or Station 211, the base that was supplied with slave laborers shipped by sea and U-boats to construct an elaborate cave complex deep within the mountains, an impregnable fortress. Hot internal springs were found there, iron ore deposits, vegetation, and access was achieved primarily through an underwater trench that ran through the area. During the war, especially the later part, German U-boats made frequent trips to the South Atlantic, South America, and Antarctica. Germany also set up floating meteorological buoys in Antarctic waters and weather stations on islands located between Antarctica and the tip of South America. The SS Rucha, Rasse and Zuidlugs Hauptamt Race and Settlement Bureau began in 1942 to take women of Aryan descent from the Ukraine solely for the purpose of transporting them to Base 211. 10,000 women between the ages of 17 and 24, blonde and well-proportioned, were recruited for the project, along with 2,500 Waffen-SS soldiers serving in Russia. The goal of this massive undertaking was to create a colony at Base 211, suitable for habitation and continued development of the Thule-Vril technology. It is believed that both the Thule and Vril Gesellschafts evacuated that technology to Base 211 at the close of the war under SS General Kammler, who was in charge of Germany's most secret weapons program. 2 U-boats that surrendered after the war in Argentina are also believed to have carried cargo and high-ranking SS to Base 211. Both boats were empty upon surrender, with the crews refusing to disclose their cargoes and destinations. It became apparent in 1946 that 54 U-boats and over 6,000 technicians and scientists were missing from Germany, especially from the SS technical branch. There were also 40,000 slave laborers and between 142,000 and 250,000 German citizens unaccounted for. Despite simply writing these off as probable losses and deaths of war, Washington suspected that a large number of these missing actually escaped to South America and Base 211, if a base such existed. The U.S. then went on a hunt using the war criminal propaganda to cover up the search for technology akin to the South American version of Operation Paperclip. The United States was so concerned about the secret base that in 1947, the first Antarctic summer, Operation High Jump was launched with a full military task force headed by Admiral Byrd. The task force was to head straight for New Schwabenland and recon the area for a base. If one was found, 4,700 armed troops would have been sent to capture it or destroy it. The task force performed the aerial recon, trailing magnetometers to detect any magnetic anomalies under the ice. But several of Byrd's planes were lost. The craft had run into enemy opposition. Operation High Jump ended in failure as Byrd headed back after several weeks. far short of the 8 months that was intended. In his unofficial comments to South American press, Byrd stated that he was attacked by enemy aircraft that could fly from pole to pole at incredible speed. Subsequently, the modern UFO phenomenon sprang up in 1947, and concentrated disk development programs were initiated in the 50s that have continued on to present day. Black Project aircraft operated by the CIA, NSA, and NRO. So the story of the Third Reich disk programs does not end with the collapse of the Third Reich itself. It continues unresolved.